All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us during the Lytham Partners Spring 2023 Investor Conference. My name is Robert Blum, Managing Partner of Lytham Partners, and during this fireside chat, we welcome SenesTech, ticker symbol of SNES on the NASDAQ, and their CEO, Joel Fruent. We're going to dive into questions in just a minute, but do want to remind everyone that Joel is available for one-on-one meetings throughout the conference, as well as into next week. If you've not already signed up and would like to do so, you can send me an email. That's Blum, B-L-U-M, at lythampartners.com. or visit the website, lythampartners.com/virtual. Click on the one-on-one meeting request button, and we'll look to get you taken care of. So with that, Joel, welcome.
Thank you, Robert. Glad to be here.
Great. So, maybe just start off with providing a bit of background on yourself here first.
Sure. So my background is anchored with 15 years of executive leadership in the vector and pest management industries. I was vice president and general manager of Clark Environmental, leading vector and pest management products and services company. And so from Clark, I bring extensive experience in the development and manufacturing of EPA-registered chemical control products, commercialization and sale of those products, and leading large sales and service organizations. But my primary skill set, though, has always been on growth initiatives, how to grow the top line, how to grow the bottom line, and ultimately how to grow the organization. I've had successes in a variety of industries and will now focus on how to best profitably grow SenesTech. And one other thing, I've always had a passion and commitment to sustainable, effective solutions to vector and pest control challenges. And certainly Contrapest fits right in with that passion by providing an exciting, sustainable solution for management of animal pests in a standalone or IPM program.
So let's talk about rats. But before we get into your product, Contrapest, why is it important to control rat populations?
Well, as we've seen in numerous publications over the last year, having too many rats is a huge problem for society, one worth spending millions on because they cost billions. And then there's the public health standpoint. These animals are a vector for disease, and the lethal options using poisons may pose a very real danger to people, pets, and wildlife. From a food supply standpoint, rats destroy 20% of the world's stored food supply through consumption or contamination, and they are very destructive. Rats cause over $27 billion of infrastructure damage per year in the US alone. And so we look at it, and yet this problem is not a new one. It's an age-old problem, usually addressed with lethal options using poisons or less than humane traps, but these options just aren't keeping up. On the contrary, it appears that post-COVID rat infestations are getting worse. Further, sometimes the wrong things get poisoned, but yet we keep trying the lethal options. In fact, the global rodenticide market is projected to be $1.7 billion by 2026.
That's good background. Thank you for that. So, maybe now let's expand specifically on your product, Contrapest.
Well, we're really excited about Contrapest and commercializing it. It's an effective and humane way of controlling this animal pest population through fertility control. So you need to think of it as rodent birth control. So our product Contrapest, it's unique, it's patented, and it has contraceptive technology that reduces or eliminates fertility in both male and female rats. This fertility control is currently delivered in a liquid form. Rats need to consume about 10% of the body weight in water every day. It's very palatable to the rats. It's a birth control milkshake. It's sweet, it's fatty, and it keeps rats coming back for more. Furthermore, Contrapest contains active ingredients that target both males and females, enhancing its effectiveness. Contrapest has been proven in the field to dramatically improve the efficacy of IPM or integrated pest management programs, with or without the use of traditional poisons. So I think it's to be very clear on this, whatever integrated pest management strategy is being employed to control infestation, it works better with Contrapest. The reason it works better is it's been designed and deployed in a manner to present fewer risks to non-target species like kids and dogs and other animals. And it's metabolized inside the rat quickly, so there's little risk of secondary exposure. So to summarize, if you look at Contrapest, it's an effective efficacy product, cost and sustainable solutions allowing end users to reduce lethal poisons and posing far fewer environmental and public health risks to everyone involved.
Fantastic. Talk a little bit about the market verticals that you're looking to address with Contrapest.
Well, in commercializing any disruptive or innovative technology, it's imperative to identify, a limited number of high potential market segments on which to focus. We just don't want to do everything for everyone. These high potential segments, they're chosen based on their economic potential, their access, and our ability to use them as reference points. So our strategy really has 5 key target market segments, and I'll go through a few of them. Agribusiness, certainly a huge market for us. Municipal and government contracts, they've been in the news lately a lot. Our e-commerce business is growing. We're now in over 25 zoos and sanctuaries around the country. In addition to that, there's commercial applications for buildings and other areas. And of course, then the pest management professionals themselves. So the commercial market includes the broader list of customers serviced by PMPs, and that would include food processing facilities, corporate campuses, and housing projects. We are targeting it directly with a pull-through strategy and also in conjunction with the PMPs as a push-through strategy. So we'll have increased focus on these areas by devoting significant field selling efforts directly to this commercial market. And we expect significant sales increases in this line.
What sort of case studies do you have that sort of highlight the success of Contrapest?
Well, it's interesting that different customers, they have different reasons to be satisfied. So in the poultry industry, rat infestations cost money. The rats consume or even contaminate feed. They feed on chicks. They damage equipment. And as the labor required to control the infestation increases. So recently we completed 2 deployments in the poultry industry. In the first West Coast egg farm, Contrapest was added to their existing integrated pest management program. And the rat populations were surveyed monthly for over a year to ensure the reduction in rat activity through the Contrapest treatment. And the final results were, as we confirmed, that Contrapest cut the rat population in half 3 months and produced a sustained 90% reduction over the 12-month study. In the second deployment, an East Coast pullet farm, Contrapest was added to the existing integrated pest management program. The staff reported back that they had an 88% improvement in pullet survival after reducing the rat population with Contrapest. So the annual benefit projected by the customer of adding Contrapest to their pest management program was over $600,000 in increased revenue and decreased costs. Their overall investment in Contrapest over the same period was less than $30,000, a fantastic return on their investment. And while these deployments were at poultry facilities, the results are immediately applicable to many other agricultural situations. Anywhere there is grain and feed, there is potential for rat infestation. Simple as that. And Contrapest is now proven in the field to dramatically reduce those infestations, reduce their negative economic impact, and improve overall food security. So we will be highly focused on penetrating the massive municipal and government sector as well. In this urban setting, customer satisfaction is in fewer rat sightings. It's more political, it's more social, it's more public health driven. There's a report by Orkin that's entitled The 25 Rattiest Cities in the U.S., and we are developing a detailed sales and marketing program to target the leaders in these cities and make them aware of Contrapest and how it can reduce rat populations. What city wants to be known as the rattiest city? And here's proof that the product works. In a long-term study in Washington, D.C., with local authorities, we were able to prove decreased activity by 94 to 99% with no rebound. In addition, the proportion of juveniles to adults decreased by 98 to 99%. So that is, in the words of a population ecologist, a crash. Over the 12 months of deployment, rat populations crashed, they stayed low, there was no rebound effect. So the city has elected to expand the use of Contrapest beyond the study area in their next funding cycle, assuming budgets recover after COVID. And similarly, in San Francisco, Contrapest use is expanding on city properties. Contrapest was recently added to the San Francisco Reduced Risk Pesticide list, further increasing our sales opportunities there. So very excited about that. Our success in DC and San Francisco is starting to drive increased population and adoption in cities around the country, such as Hartford, Connecticut, Columbus, Ohio, and suburban Boston are now actively using Contrapest. So most recently, Santa Clara County in the Silicon Valley has adopted Contrapest and has a major Silicon Valley tech company.
Certainly a number of case studies there that you have. I think on the last call, or maybe it was 2 calls ago, you mentioned sort of 3 things that were imperative to accomplish. Maybe explain what they are and what you're doing to implement them.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started, it took some time to really examine the business and what we really needed. And I then articulated 3 imperatives. We need to sell better in a more structured way. We need to make a better product and more product options for our customers. And that leads to giving the customer more choices. So we've worked really hard this past quarter to address these imperatives that will really help us in the future. So let's start with the selling strategy. First, we have redeployed and refocused our direct sales efforts to enhance our customer acquisition capabilities, while also trying to put the sales reps closer to the customers to focus on the numerous large opportunities that are available for our unique fertility control product. So once we've done that, we expanded our field sales organization. We deployed them by geography with leadership in both the eastern and western half of the U.S. This will give a strong regional focus, and this strong regional focus on new customer acquisition through an expanded commercial team will allow new depths of vertical industry knowledge and to get in front of the decision makers. And it's all designed to tighten the sales cycle and ultimately driving revenue. So we've also made some changes in leadership. I have taken over direct leadership of the commercialization efforts. And we're also moving our outsourced marketing and our growth plans to a new group, the Dorn Group, with whom I have had past success. So excited to be working with them again and developing our growth plan. So moving now to make better products. So during the 3rd quarter of last year, our customer complaints peaked at around 35 complaints per month. Not that high. We were doing an adequate job, but any complaint are too many. And I knew we could improve it. So during the 1st quarter, even amidst our higher volumes of sales, our complaints averaged less than $10 per month. Still have a little bit of work to do there, but we did this by introducing improvements in our delivery system, so our trays. We can still do better. We're preparing a number of formulation improvements for EPA review, which we will be submitting within days. So we have a commitment to continuously improving the product and giving our customers options to use that product. And now we've got to give the customer more choices. So this really started last year with the introduction of the Elevate system. It's a delivery system. It uniquely targets the roof rat. For those not familiar, the Elevate system we created with its suspended bait station it's really revolutionary within the pest control industry. There simply is no other effective product on the market like it, expressly designed for above ground deployment for the control of roof rats. So the industry has typically utilized traditional bait boxes to deliver pesticides and other products. So the design of this system is such that it permits easy drop-in and replacement of new 8-ounce bottles of Contrapest. So it really reduces service time and cost. We filed for patent protection for the Elevate system in April in recognition of both its uniqueness and effectiveness. So the initial focus for us with Elevate is agriculture. While our experience with agricultural applications demonstrates the efficacy and the economic value of Contrapest, our customers have been requesting an additional baiting option to target rats where they often live, specifically in rafters and other above ground applications. So I believe that the Elevate system will be an innovation that really enables us to accelerate our penetration into a number of key markets, particularly agriculture. And then finally, we also realized that the 400 milliliter, was about 13 ounces, standard tank size was not always optimal for initial deployments or modest infestations. So therefore, we introduced a 4-ounce starter tank recently. And we are suggesting that this tank be used at the outset of a deployment and then really replaced with a 400 milliliter tank when consumption patterns are confirmed. So big targeting of customers to give them more options for their unique situations.
Fantastic. Now, as you sort of indicated, you just came on board here a couple of months ago. It takes time to develop all these strategies. That said, Q1 was obviously a little bit light. Anything to sort of comment specifically on during the quarter and maybe sort of the outlook for Q2?
Yeah, well, Q1 wasn't as great as we expected it to be. We really started to break it down and look at what happened. Our e-commerce business was up 54% year over year. And on our field sales we looked at the recent weather-related issues in California especially, put a damper on some of the Q1 activity for both agriculture and other markets. But Q2 looks to be recovering nicely. But there are some great things that happened. Last month, one of the largest agricultural grain export companies in the world deployed Contrapest to select grain storage for export facilities. So with this customer and the initial deployment, our experts worked with the pest management professionals there to develop and deploy Contrapest as an addition to the existing integrated pest management program. So if this follows the success we have seen in other customer segments, this initial deployment represents a significant account growth potential. And then also in April, we confirmed the County of Los Angeles is continuing and expanding its use of fertility control in current requests for proposals that are out there for PMPs to bid on. Very excited about that. When the product is in the specifications, the pest management professionals start coming to us, and that's what we're seeing. We're also seeing continued adoption in Santa Clara and San Francisco, as I mentioned. In December, we announced that the city of Los Angeles had ordered and have now deployed Contrapest broadly at the Los Angeles Zoo as part of their IPM program. They also have a deployment plan that is now expected to exceed 250 bait stations. Overall, 25 zoos, including 3 of the top 10 zoos in the United States, are now using Contrapest. When we expand the segment to include animal sanctuaries and veterinary clinics, the customer count is much higher, well over 200. So really a good growth segment for us. And besides being a target market in their own right, zoos and sanctuaries they're the ultimate influencers in all things animal. And this continues to be a focus segment for us. And then on the municipal front, we continue to expand with more cities, the latest deployments being in West Allis, Wisconsin, and Brookline, Massachusetts. As the publicity surrounding the nation's rattiest cities increases and the word gets out about successful deployments, more municipal and county agencies will be looking at fertility control to control their rat populations. So we recognize this is a results business and we need to produce results. And I think we are on the right track.
All right, great. Any sort of regulations out there that might help to drive growth?
Yeah, well, California recently adopted the Ecosystems Protection Act, which went into effect January 1st of 2021, really banning, under most circumstances, the 4 major second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, or SCARs. They're commonly used in rodent pest control. So that was a big move for us. And consequently, we have seen some increased business in California. And then we're also seeing similar potential initiatives in places such as Massachusetts and Vancouver, for instance. These regulations are certainly nice drivers for us.
All right, looks like maybe just a couple of minutes left here. We've talked all sort of domestically here in the U.S., but any opportunities internationally?
We have a lot of opportunities internationally. In fact, in the last 2 months, we've picked up a substantial number of inquiries about distributing our product in places from South Africa to Dubai to the Maldives. And we will be having some announcements shortly on the progress of those potential distributor partnerships.
Okay, great. Anything to add before I guess we wrap things up here?
Only that I'm, instituting what I believe to be tried and true sales strategies in the pest management world, and we want to accomplish a goal that we all desire. It's accelerate and steepen the adoption curve of a truly revolutionary product. Having had the opportunity to be entrenched with the team for a few months, my excitement is higher today than when I joined, for sure.
All right, great, Joe. Well, thank you so much for the time today. Greatly appreciate it. Hope, again, to everyone out there that's watching and listening, if you've not already signed up for a one-on-one and would like to do so, reach out to me, Blum@lythampartners.com. Visit the website, lythampartners.com/virtual. Click on that one-on-one meeting request button. So we hope you all enjoy the conference. Joel, thank you very much for your time today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, Robert.